God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the
Everybody
procedure,
stay calm.
everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm!
Wait.
Everybody calm down!
Yes, well, new week, who this bitch? It's your boy Kris Avalon. How y'all doing? I know it's been a minute since we've all congregated together on this very platform. Welcome for those of you who are watching live. If you aren't watching live, you catch this during a tape. You know, later on down the line when y'all got time to sit and watch me. How y'all doing? And yes, welcome to season 2 of On the Line. Yes, we have made it to season 2. It's fall, new time, new situation. So glad that you could join us. And for those of you who are just now in the know and have not ever checked out an episode of On the Line is basically a short form show where we just dive in deep and get in and out on the latest pop culture news. So I'll probably do maybe 2 or 3 topics, tops, and basically my opinion on it, because I know a lot of y'all got a short attention span. But if y'all definitely want to check out more of my work, you should definitely check out my podcast, which I do every Saturday on All Digital Radio Network, as well as on it's on iTunes, Apple Music, all that good stuff. We'll get a screenshot of the thing on here. Basically just go to my Instagram, Kris Avalon, OFFI1. At the bottom. And then basically it has my link tree up in there. It has all the links to there it is. Big as day, bitch. Okay, so there it is. Basically you can just go and follow me over there, and you can go and click on my link tree, and you can listen to the podcast on the go. It's 2 hours of celebrity news and gossip and some music. So let me check that out. But the 2 topics we're going to focus on today is basically about people, the underdogs winning against big old bullies in Hollywood. So the first topic we're going to talk about Scarlett Johansson, this whole Disney situation, and then we're going to dive into Victor Miller, who was the original screenwriter for Friday the 13th, and how he won the victory on being able to collect some of the coins on some of those iconic characters that he created with a beloved slasher movie franchise. So first, what we're going to do is we're going into this Scarlett Johansson story. Oh, that's Michael Myers. It's Halloween. Friday the 13th. But so the tea is basically, for those of you who've been living under a rock, there was a situation that happened. We've been in the middle of a pandemic. We kind of still are in the middle of a pandemic. I don't know if a lot of people notice. The way some of y'all been running around in these damn streets, y'all been acting like this pandemic ain't never existed, or the whole situation. So we're slowly starting to get back in the groove of things. New York has mandated that if you're going to go anywhere indoors, you basically have to be vaccinated. You cannot be up in here if y'all don't want to get the shot or whatever. You can't even work in New York City if you don't have the vaccine, which kudos to our people, our politicians for enforcing that, because I ain't got time for you bitches coming from other states. But we're not going to get all political and stuff. We're going to keep it as what this is with this specific topic. So the pandemic definitely has affected some of my favorite places that I wanted to go, particularly the movie theaters. So theaters are starting to get back on track. I did go see Shang-Chi a couple of weeks ago when it first came out, opening weekend, and it was packed in the theater. And they were not playing over at AMC in Lincoln Square. You basically had to show ID and you had to have your proof of vaccination in order to enter a theater, which, in my opinion, made me feel a lot safer when I went to go watch the film because I knew I was in a room with people who were vaccinated, so I have a lesser chance of getting sick. And it was a packed theater and everybody was pretty much respectful. We were watching the film. We all had a great time. And unfortunately, one of the movies that suffered was Black Widow because Black Widow was released not only in the theater, but also on Disney Plus, which, according to Scarlett Johansson, was not a part of the original deal that she had made with Disney when this movie was going to get released, because, you know, it was postponed a couple of times due to the pandemic. So then all of a sudden Disney decided to change the contract. And what she said was she wanted to negotiate behind the scenes with her attorneys on a financial deal because they done screwed up. They screwed her and they screwed up on the whole deal. They decided to go and change up the contract. She was like, you were supposed to honor the contract. I was supposed to make some money off the back end and that sort of thing, which a lot of other studios were doing. They were paying out people. And I'm sure with the whole Halloween Kills day and date release of them being released on Peacock, that they paid a good amount of money to Jason Blum. Well, Jason Blum said he actually went to Peacock with the idea, but I'm sure they paid Jamie Lee Curtis a good amount of coin, as well as David Gordon Green, to make sure that everybody walked away happy and wasn't going to be upset, just like they did with Gal Gadot and Patty Jenkins over at HBO Max. Although I know HBO Max got their drama going on over there with that, but and they're still suffering because they still want to release Dune in HBO Max and in the theater, which I'm upset about because we haven't even gotten the second half of the book yet. But hopefully it won't suffer financially. But to get back on the whole Scarlett Johansson situation, the Hollywood Reporter laid it all out. And they finally came to a conclusion. But I just want to give y'all a whole situation. So she tried to settle everything under the radar, didn't want to expose Disney, but Disney was like, you know, Bob Chapek and all them was like, you know what, we're Disney. We ain't gotta listen to her. Fuck her. You know, we gave her 10 years, even though it was under Bob Iger. 10 movies. She's spent a decade playing, Natasha Romanoff, aka Black Widow, and she's made a ton of money. And instead of being respectful, what they did was they pretty much went and ignored her. And she was like, you know what? I'm not going to continue to put up with y'all shit no more. So now I'm going to take it public because you don't want to handle this like grown-ass adults. So then, of course, instead of them handling the situation, they decided to berate her and say that, oh, well, look, she made $20 million playing Black Widow. She should be grateful that she's made all this money. And excuse me, when your whole idea is to honor a contract, you need to honor the contract that we put in place. And if you're not going to give me what you owe me, in the words of Rihanna, bitch, pay me what you owe me. Bitch, better have my goddamn money. If you're not going to pay me my money, then I'm just going to have to take you to the courts. So long story short, they finally settled. And what my theory on this thing is that they wanted to keep this thing private. And what probably happened was the courts was probably denying and saying like they didn't want to keep it private, that once you go on the record and this goes to trial, it's going to become public knowledge. And we already knew that Disney screwed up because Bob Chapek went and openly admitted in a recent interview not too long ago at a press conference, something or another, that basically in so many words that they screwed up, and that from now on in the future, when they deal with a lot of these actors playing these iconic roles, that they're going to have an ironclad contract, which basically is saying that, you know what, you realize you're screwed, Scarlett, and now you're gonna have to give her a payout. So now y'all made her look crazy. Y'all came at her in a misogynistic way. You try to make her look like a greedy idiot. And I saw some of you people online talk about, well, she made so much money playing this character. Why is she acting like that? It's like, but so it's perfectly okay for a company to take advantage of an actor or someone who this is their livelihood. And while studios could continue to go on and on and on and on and on forever creating content, actors don't have that much of a lot of the movie stars, actors don't have, that much of a shelf life when it comes to creating whatever they need to create. It's always you're only as good as your last hit. That's how a lot of these studios operate whenever it comes to hiring writers, whenever it comes to hiring actors, whenever it comes to hiring anybody who is, content creators. You're only as good as your last program. And a lot of these studios pretty much just chew you up and spit you out, move on to the next big thing. So it's smart for someone like Scarlett to secure her bag and make sure that she is paid the way she wants to pay. So not only this, but I'm like, she is fierce. Her people, they not only got a payout, which would have been initially, from what I heard, was $20 million, but she got paid double that because, y'all made her look crazy out in these streets. So I'm hearing she's getting over $40+ million of a payout. She's still going to continue to work with them. And so they basically said, I'm happy to have resolved our differences with Disney. This is what Johansson said in a statement released on Thursday, saying, I'm incredibly proud of the work we've done together over the years, and I've greatly enjoyed my creative relationship with the team. I look forward to continuing our collaboration in years to come, which means she is going to not only get their money from Disney, but she's going to continue to work with them. And I always say this is show business. So it's like, regardless of how you feel about people, this is a business. She's going to continue to make money with them. And that was probably part of the deal. It's like, okay, well, if you don't want any of this shit to get out or things to get even worse than what it is, you're going to pay me not only the money that you owe me, but we're going to continue to do business together. And you're going to promote and you're going to put together projects that I want done through the House of Mouse. So, basically with that is that and then there was also a statement from Alan Bergman, chairman of Disney Studios Content, saying, I'm very pleased that we have been able to come to a mutual agreement with Scarlett regarding Black Widow. We appreciate her contributions to the Marvel Cinematic Universe and look forward to working together on a number of upcoming projects, including Disney's Tower of Terror, which isn't that based on what do you call it? Like a ride at Disney? What's up with these damn rides? Then your Pirates of the Caribbean. Well, I can't throw shade at Pirates of the Caribbean because the first movie actually was good. So I take that back. But Tower of Terror, I'm like, okay, if it's interesting, I'll see it. But I'm not going to throw shade unless I see a trailer or whatever. I'm going to keep the comments. I'm going to let it, But anyway, so, and they said that the funds, which they're saying would run more than $40 million, will not be paid by Disney in a single lump sum if you pick up the creative accounting I'm putting down. So they're probably going to pay her in small little increments. And my thing is this, if you're going to be a part of a corporation, and corporations, when you have a deal set in place, y'all need to do your job and you need to honor your contracts. You don't get to be like, because we're a studio, that you get to just not honor the contract that has been put in place. I get, we're in the middle of a pandemic still, and that, the COVID-19 and the Delta variant, all this stuff is unpredictable. And, tomorrow, for all we know, things could get shut down again. However, if a contract is put in place, you need to honor that contract with the very people you made the deal with. So kudos to Scarlett for getting her money and for fighting, for having this be a David and Goliath type situation. And she was able to take down the beast. And I feel like actors should not be afraid, or people who are in this industry or any industry should not be afraid to take on a giant when they've done you wrong. And as long as you got the right lawyers behind you, shit can get done the way it needs to get done. So kudos to her. And if you want to read the rest of this article, definitely check out the Deadline article that I've been referencing in here. They give a full breakdown of what's going on. Now let's get to another victory, and that would be from the one and only Victor Miller, who wrote the original Friday the 13th script. He is the screenwriter, I was going to say. Shout out to Bloody Disgusting for this story, but also the Hollywood Reporter's Eric Gardner, who's definitely been breaking a lot of this stuff down and giving me an overall assessment of what's been going on in regards of this story. Now, it's been about 2 years since we had to get an update on the whole Friday the 13th situation. The last time we got a Friday the 13th movie was, I don't remember what year it came out, but Jared Padalecki from Supernatural was in it. And while I was thoroughly entertained by parts of the movie, I did not think it was a great reboot of the franchise. I like the overall vibe of it. I like the that it had like the grit, the overall grittiness, I guess is the word I'm looking for. But I loved I love the old Friday the 13th movies. Like my favorites literally is the first one, the 1 through 4, which would be the final chapter, and then 6, Jason Lives. After that, the rest of the movies is trash. And I do have a soft spot for the one with the sidekick. I have a soft spot for that one. But other than that, I hated Jason Takes Manhattan. Jason X was trash. The Jason Goes to Hell was god awful. And don't even get me started about Friday the 13th Part 5. That is like the equivalent. I was going to say that. I was thinking that's the Friday the 13th Part 5, The New Beginning. That's kind of the equivalent, because it wasn't even Jason. It was kind of the equivalent of giving me Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. Although I will say, Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, I absolutely have a soft spot for that movie because Michael wasn't in it, and it wasn't about that. It was, and I do love that there's references to Halloween 3 in Halloween Kills, which I'm going to do a review on around the time when that movie comes out, by the way. But so basically, a judge ruled back in 2018, giving me a assessment that Friday the 13th screenwriter Victor Miller is the sole owner of the original screenplay in the U.S. because you have your international rights as well that we should talk about that as well. Like everything isn't always in America. Friday director Sean Cunningham has been working to have the decision reversed. Now, the argument continues to be that Miller wrote the screenplay as a work for hire and therefore should only be able to gain the rights to the screen, should not be able to gain the screenwriter, saying that basically when we hired you, we had, so basically, wait. So when you say work for hire, that means you already had the characters written. You already had the idea that it was going to be Pamela Voorhees, and because Jason did make a cameo at the end of the movie, jumping out of the water and grabbing the girl at the boat, that whole shocker. But then Jason didn't appear until the sequel. So are you saying that he doesn't, well, I don't know what the complexities of that is. Does he own the rights to Jason, or does he only own the rights to the first script, which is about Pamela and, the other kids at the camp? So does that mean that you already have the outline of the characters of the original movie, and he just wrote whatever y'all wanted him to write? Like y'all sat in the room, came up with the idea, he just sat there and wrote the script? Come to find out that's not the case. So he basically was trying to come over here and do something completely different. The trial judge had ruled if the rights go to Miller after all these years under the Copyright Act's termination right, which a lot of people don't understand. What that means is basically it allows authors to regain rights to the work they've signed over to a company. So like when he signed the rights to the Friday the 13th film, the original script back in 1980 when the movie came out. So it's probably like 79 or 78 when he wrote it. I don't know exactly the year, but usually you know how long it, when you write a script and everything and it goes into development, it does take at least a good year or two before it gets off the page until on the screen, unless, depending on it's a small independent film. So it probably was done a lot quicker. So 30 years later is when you can regain back the rights, which is how Clive Barker wound up getting the rights back to his Hellraiser film, which now we're getting a new Hellraiser movie and we're getting a Hellraiser TV series over on HBO, which I've heard little things about, but I'm just looking forward to seeing like what's going to happen with that. So Cunningham and Horror Inc. were hoping that the Second Circuit Court of Appeals would end up reversing that decision. But that decision was reversed because, Hollywood Reporter's Eric Garner has been keeping us abreast of everything that's been going on. And basically that said that Victor Miller has now won the copyright termination appeal, which basically means the Second Circuit Court of Appeals has affirmed that district court's previous order, rejecting the argument and concluding that Miller was an independent contractor when he wrote the screenplay and is therefore entitled to authorship rights. So basically saying that he wasn't a work for hire, he was an independent contractor, which basically means that he was out, he wrote the script, he was probably shopping it around, and they went and they bought the script, and that's what that is. And a lot of times people don't realize, like when you're a songwriter, when you're a screenwriter, whenever you're doing any kind of work or producer, whatever the case is, you write something, you're shopping it around to different studios, and you basically, it's like, okay, the studio will buy the contract, or not the contract, they'll buy the script, and then once they buy the script, it's now their property and they can continue to make money and continue to profit off of the franchise, which Paramount has done, and Sean Cunningham and a lot of people who are behind the scenes have been able to profit financially off of this franchise, whereas the screenwriter was only able to make whatever money he made off the original script and was not able to profit financially, which is why you see now a lot of people who are part of Marvel who've written a lot of your favorite characters, like, the Hulk and Spider-Man and Iron Man and, a lot of those characters. They're trying to get a piece of the financial pie because now Marvel has made billions of dollars off of these characters, and these writers are making nothing. They're not getting a percentage. And I feel like if you create an iconic character, yes, you should get some kind of compensation. There should be some type of stipend, or how like in TV, they basically give you you make residuals from if a show lasts, does pass a 7-year contract. Once you go into syndication, you're making that syndication money. So you get like a small little percentage. I think screenwriters and people who create content should be able to do that because in Hollywood, the attitude is you're only as good as your last hit. So unfortunately, that's how the cookie crumbles. But hopefully, this is going to be a change for the better. And I think that this is a huge step in the process. And now he basically has to wait until various deals are worked out behind the scenes. So this could probably take another couple of years before we see Jason back on the big screen. Now, I don't know if he owns the rights to Jason, if he actually came up with the Jason character in the franchise, but if he actually owns the rights to Jason, then he can pretty much do whatever he wants. I don't necessarily know what all the rights. It's a lot to break down. So definitely, if you have the time, definitely check out Eric Gardner's story that he did on in the Hollywood Reporter. And so you can get all the details because it's a lot to break down here, and I ain't got the time to. And that's like what I was saying before that Disney is the Marvel character. People are trying to get those characters for Disney, and I think there's a huge step. Like if we can see like Scarlett Johansson's winning and we got Victor Miller winning, then those people out there who are fighting to get a piece of that Disney pie, those writers, then they'll be able to go, you know what? This is the perfect opportunity for us to try to go out and do the same thing. And I do think that they're owed compensation, and then people should have a right to live off the characters that they've created. Because look, there's a lot of one-hit wonders out here. I mean, in the sense of you're trying to get your work sold, and Hollywood is not biting, and you're sitting there struggling. And who wants to struggle while Hollywood profits financially off of a character you created for the rest of their life, but then you're sitting there watching them, reap all the benefits. To me, it's not fair, but I get it. This is not show friends. It's just show business. It's the way things work. And just because it works that way doesn't necessarily mean you can't challenge the system. So on that note, I think that's pretty much all I have to say on this topic. If you guys have anything to say on this whole situation, definitely leave, a comment down below if you're watching this over on the YouTube live channel, and let me know your thoughts on this whole situation because I'm always rooting for the underdog, even if the underdog, like Scarlett, as y'all like to say, has a lot of money. In the same way, she is an underdog, especially being a woman in a business like Hollywood and the amount of stuff that you have to deal with. But yeah, we'll be right back. I'm about to do a second episode, and the second episode, just a teaser, it's going to be but the latest on Wendy Williams and do I think she needs to hang it up, and the person who they already have in the running to replace her because apparently Wendy don't want to come back to work no more. So I got that, and I got some stuff we're going to bring up on The View and LeBron James, and is it a celebrity's right to have to jump in and give you an idea, give their opinion on whether or not you should be vaccinated and that sort of thing. So we'll talk about that and a whole lot more. So don't go away. We'll be coming right back with another brand new episode of On the Line Season 2.
This for faggots.